from that, but implementing the other pieces. So some questions from council and some updates shared from that. It was also a chance to get some updates from our department heads on things that they're working on, things that are advancing through their offices, more informational type of stuff, again, not action items. So, but a couple of things that are from that I think are important, people might be interested in. So we do get an update on our capital improvement projects. So I figured I'd give a quick rundown on what some of those are. The Duck Creek Water Tower, everyone's seen it, no longer looks like a martini glass. It is scheduled to be finished this year. They're almost done with the utility tie-ins, and it should actually start being painted next month. So it'll stop looking like a bunch of metal and start looking like a true water tower. There is a big project we've been going on for a couple of years now, the East Commerce Street project, which is relining sewer lines and reinstalling some water mains. The work on Locust Street is going to continue. Actually, this is the final phase we're entering into. We'll be starting up pretty soon. It will be hopefully in October. We'll be breaking ground on that piece. The goal also to try and have it done as close to the end of the year as possible. A few things that we've got in the planning are some of the utility expansions to the north for water and sewer and electric to reach some of the additional properties that are in the north side of town that have not been historically serviced and that people are now interested in developing. These are all been slated for development for 20 some odd years, but we're just finally starting to get to that portion of the town. The new bathrooms that the town has been working on installing at the municipal park should be delivered in December. And there's two developments that I've mentioned a number of times, like Como Woods and Ashland, who still have final paving of their streets that need to get done. Both of those are also slated for October. They're sort of going through the punch lists on those items to kick that off soon, hopefully. Ideally, there'll be a lot of stuff done by the end of the year. A lot of this stuff that's on this project list is moving quickly, and by the end of the year, there'll be a whole new list of new projects. So, we also got some updates on a few other items that Public Works are engaged in. I've mentioned the customer recycling improvement program. That is finished with its first week. We're in our second week now. We've got a little bit of data from it. And not wonderful things. 44% of the town's recycling containers were found contaminated in week one, meaning that there were items in there that shouldn't have been in there, or they were in bags or things like that, and they shouldn't have been. All told, there were 1,046 recycling containers were tagged with warnings and suggested measures to correct those. And there were actually 22 recycling containers that were full-on rejected because they were so contaminated that they weren't able to be collected, and methods of correction were provided. So that's going to go on. It's not every container every week. It rolls throughout the town, but it's a 4-week program to try and identify as many improvements as we can make. Already seen a couple people get some things and have questions about the right way to dispose of their recycling. Two items that come up every year are leaf collection and fall cleanup. So leaf collection will start October 2nd, and it runs all the way through December 23rd, so basically through Christmas. You can dispose of leaves only unbagged at curbside, so you rake them out to the curb or blow them out to the curb, and we'll come along and get them. And then the fall cleanup, so this is where you can dispose of large bulk items. That's going to start October 9th, and it runs through October 20th. You can look at the town's website for the rules and regulations, what will and will not be collected. But if you've got bulk items that you need to get rid of, the town tipper truck's going to be coming along. They're going to be loading up those big things. So get them ready to go. Have them ready by October 9th through the 20th and dump them. Those were the major updates on different items that I think are important. As far as the agenda for the meeting last night, it was actually really, really short. The total meeting agenda was probably less than half an hour. We really only had 2 items. But I want to start off, before I go over those, with actually addressing something that was said at the council meeting last night. We had a member of the public make a public comment that they have opposition to some of the potential development on the north side of town. Specifically, their opposition is because they think that it will attract those people from Philadelphia to our community. That is very, very thinly veiled racism, and it's nothing else than thinly veiled racism. Maybe classism, right? But here's somebody who moved to our community not long ago from another state who is telling us that we should shut the doors to more diverse economic, ethnic communities moving into our town by building housing that reaches people at all different levels of the economic spectrum. Our idea for Planned Village communities is to allow housing to be built that can accommodate people at a variety of different levels. Not everybody can afford a $500,000 McMansion, right? There's a lot of people who need an apartment to rent. There's a lot of people who can afford a townhome or a duplex or a smaller single-family home. And we have an obligation to provide those types of housing opportunities for people who are in our community and people who want to move to our community. The objection is that if we're building things that allow higher density residential, apartments, townhomes, we are going to attract those people, meaning people who they assume are going to cause problems in our community. And meanwhile, I've been here for 9 years. I see thousands of members of our community through my business, through my interactions in the public, and everybody I meet is here because they want a better quality of life. They want a great place for their kids to grow up. They want a school system that they can be proud of. They want the same opportunities as everybody else. They are not those people. They are the people who will be part of our community. And the idea that somebody is willing to stand up and call them out reflects very poorly on them. I think the opportunity for us is to continue to put those things out in our community that can attract and bring in a diverse, thriving population. I was taken aback that somebody, I shouldn't be surprised, but I was taken aback that somebody is willing to stand up and say that sort of thing, right? Like say the quiet thing, the thing that you normally say. I know that that's kind of what this has become, but this is really surprising because my 4 years on council, it's the first time we've ever had a member of public, I think, step up and say something so just overtly racist and classist and against the things that I think that we've been trying to do in building a more inclusive community. I know that that is not representative of the vast majority of our people in our town. I'm proud of the people who I meet, the diversity, the thought, the care that people bring to this community. It's a shame that we have people in this community who don't feel that way and who want to prevent other people who don't look like them from coming here. I don't have much else to say about that other than I'm sorry if anybody happened to hear that. I'm sorry for the affront that is to people who want to come to our community. It makes me sad to know that those comments are out there in public, and I think that it is on us, members of council, members of this community, members of our town staff, to have to overcome those type of ideas, those types of bigotry that some people think that it's perfectly fine to espouse. That's my soapbox for today. As far as the actual agenda, there were really only 2 items. One is we wanted to just reiterate what the park hours were, because there was some question after the damage to the park bathrooms. The question came up about how do we address security and those type of things, and really there's nothing that we don't feel that we can change about those that would not make access to the park much more difficult. But what it is that the park, municipal parks are open, and the Little Lass baseball fields, they're open from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. The park, the beach area is open from dawn till dusk, and the other lake access areas are open from dawn until, I believe it's 8 p.m. So we just reiterated those public hours as far as the parks are concerned. And then the other item was actually an update to the town fee schedule. So a number of meetings, or a year plus ago, we made a change to allow people developing property in town to, instead of planting the required number of trees, to pay a fee in lieu of planting trees. The tree requirements sometimes can be very hard to meet. If you have to plant 50 trees, and realistically the layout of the property or things like that can only allow you to plant 47, we can provide waivers to that, but the town would actually prefer to have a fee in lieu of, so that we can collect a fee associated with that and then use that to plant trees or address canopy issues with our street trees in other places in the town. We made that change to the code a while ago, but we never actually implemented and put it into our fee structure. So that change was done to the fee structure. We'll actually probably have another code piece, an ordinance that we'll look at that will actually be very specific about how those fees are used. Right now, it's just assumed that they're going to be used for addressing the needs of trees. We want to make that very, very clear, sort of the way that we do with other fees that are associated with a specific amenity or something in the town, like a park fee or things like that. So those are really the only big council items that we had. Like I said, it was a pretty quick meeting from that perspective. Yeah, we all got home at a nice, reasonable time, just after 8 o'clock, which is pretty nice. Again, some of the updates, things to keep on your schedule: the fall cleanup, October 9th through October 20th. Leaf collection starting October 2nd through December 23rd. Also, a couple of other items. Folks have hopefully seen some things about the Duck Creek Regional Library. There's a groundbreaking that's scheduled for that. It's up on Facebook. It's going to be downtown at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, October 11th. So if you're around, come check that out for sure. If you've been part of that process and you want to see the groundbreaking, I'll be there. Other than that, have a great day, everybody. And our next meeting will be not until February 2nd. So we've got a couple of weeks. So you'll hear from me after that. Take care. Have a wonderful day.